What makes a hero? Is it the courage and determination? Or is it kindness and optimism? To the people I'm about to talk about, I think they say it's pure, unmatched power. Power really is the true deciding factor of what is right and wrong. And if you have all the power, then you have the world. The god of the grid, Lord Drakkon, versus the Demon King of Time and Space, Ohma Zi-O. This is a matchup that has been a cornerstone for the matches of buff men in spandex for about as long as I can remember. But weirdly enough, I don't really see any deep dives into exactly how the matchup will play out, which is why I'm here. Hey, how you doing? I'm Ultraman. I'm gonna look into the histories of not only these characters, but also this multi-decade long franchise that these characters are from, to see who truly comes out on top. This is also totally not because I'm a petty bitch and two Discord friends just try to argue with me. I guess might judge me on who I think wins this. Anyway, so let's start with Drakkon. Lord Drakkon is actually the legendary Tommy
Oliver from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from another universe. What made Drakkon so special, however, is that out of all of the Tommies in the multiverse, he's the only one to ever stay on the dark side of morality after breaking free of Rita's mind control. In this timeline, now fully willing to work with Rita, Tommy would promptly solo all of the main Rangers along with Zordon and mentally kill Saba in base form, thus merging his Green Ranger powers and the White Ranger power. And eventually, with this
whole new level of strength, Tommy will take over the entire world of Rita.
Well, until he killed her also. You know, counts as being evil and all that jazz. It was, you know. Anyways,
years would go by as Drakkon would prepare a massive and terrible army of Ranger Sentries as he prepares to show not only his world,
but all worlds that only he is allowed to rule over them, as the one
true God.
Now, let's just get this out the way. Drakkon is one of the strongest characters in the entire Power Rangers franchise. Easy. His entire story revolves around this multiversal conquest and war against every single Power Ranger in existence. And he even fuses himself with the power of multiple other Ranger teams to achieve higher levels of godhood. So pretty much any feat that comes from previous Power Rangers, Drakkon was just upscaled that by like a billion times over. Alright, okay. So, let's start. A decent chunk of Power Rangers should have this planetary AP. This is from scaling to the Zord Serpentera, an absolutely gigantic Megazord created by Lord Zed with enough power to destroy an entire planet at max power. This is obviously a planetary feat, but considering Serpentera blew the planet beyond its GPE, it is arguable that Serpentera was exerting dwarf star levels of energy at max power. In Power Rangers Forever Red, a team of the first 10 red Power Rangers banded together to stop the threat of Serpentera once and for all before it, blows up the planet. It's kind of its job, right? Serpentera would then only be defeated by Cole, the Wild Force Red Ranger, in base, and arguably not even that far into his career as a Power Ranger. All the other Rangers have fought even with him during the entire special, so they should have the same planetary to dwarf star levels of power. And in speed, these guys ain't slouches either. Again, looking into Forever Red, all the Rangers scale to Andros, where he commonly flies and fights and take a fucking guess, with people calculating some of the feats in space to be as fast as 2,209 times to 3,534 times faster than light. This applies not only to his travel speed, but also reaction and combat speed, since Andros could dodge lasers and fight fodder while moving at these insane speeds. One of, if not the best feats, comes from the original run of Mighty Morphin, as in Season 2, Episode 27, the Power Rangers decided to fly off. It was just something they could do, apparently. I feel like this was a fix. They just did this all the time, just fix a lot of the problems they had, when they had the Mighty Morphin suits. I don't know, maybe. I don't know, maybe I'm stupid. Anyways, they flew to the furthest galaxy in the known universe from Earth in a matter of a few hours. This feat has been calculated to be 32 trillion times the speed of light, arguably higher with Serpentera fat fuck can travel the same distance in an arguably shorter amount of time. Though, I don't have any calculations for Serpentera, and I don't really feel like doing it. So 3220 it is.
Hey, so it's me during the recording process of this video, and good news, I was able to find a calculation for Serpentera's speed during his travel from the furthest galaxy back to Earth, and that's been calculated at like 7 quadrillion times faster than light, I think. So yeah, that's pretty neat.
And this is all extremely impressive, but this is all honestly small stuff to what Drakkon can do in the comics at full power. Now, with these type of characters, the Power Rangers cosmology in the comics has an infinite multiverse with infinite possibilities and yada 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 yada, blah blah blah. What gets interesting though is what is above the multiverse. The morphing grid. Basically, the speed force of the Power Rangers. The morphing grid is an omnipresent dimension made of pure energy beyond linear time and space that connects every Power Ranger together and what makes them morph into their legendary suits in the first place. Whether it's through magic, or man-made technology, or a fucking space card. All of it comes from the morphing grid. And the main guardians of the morphing grid are the trio of the emissaries. Trio of emissaries. yeah, that's totally what I meant. Beings who have been applied to see the fourth dimension rather limiting to their language. And even after being directly asked by Zordon for assistance in the war against Drakkon, for the fate of the entire multiverse was on the line, they looked at each other and said, "Nah, we good." Because the morphing grid will be completely unaffected by the collapse of the multiverse. So, this is 1, a completely dick move, 2, bomb scum behavior, and 3, pretty much undeniable proof that these guys, and by extension the morphic grid, is at least 5th dimensional beings in existence and power. So, Drakkon scales to and above this, considering soon after Drakkon fused with the power of multiple other Rangers to essentially reach godhood, he would then load the emissaries and attain the morphing heart / heart of the morphing master. I'm gonna just call it the morphing heart because it sounds cool. He then uses this power to pretty much instantly destroy the entire multiverse to create his own reality with the power he has over the morphing grid, after causing massive strain on it and threatening the grid's destruction during his war and ascension. This would warrant Drakkon high 5D, probably 6D levels of power after attaining the morphing heart, or high complex multiversal, in simpler terms. Not only that, Drakkon will gain a pretty significant bonus into his journey to godhood. See, out of the entire infinite multiverse, Drakkon is the only Tommy in all of creation to permanently stay on the dark side. Along with the power he gained from the morphing heart, not only is Drakkon a temporal anomaly, but also an acausal being, effectively meaning Drakkon's existence became entirely separate from any linear timeline and makes him completely unaffected to any timeline doohickery that may happen or change his past. This and the fact that the power was collapsing time itself. This will give Drakkon easily immeasurable speed with the bonus of practically being immortal in several different ways. With all this power, you may think this guy is unstoppable with no holes in his power whatsoever. Well, okay, just a couple weaknesses. One is that he's very unstable, like physically, spiritually, and especially mentally. Oh my god, brother was tweaking for a very good chunk of the final arc. And it's not like Drakkon is dumb or anything. He wouldn't be winning a multiversal war with super geniuses and higher dimensional gods almost single-handedly if he wasn't. But he has an extremely fragile ego that makes him extremely susceptible to his power going to his brain. And he makes mistakes and a smart fighter could take advantage of. The prime example of this is when Drakkon created his perfect reality with a morphing heart. The prime universe Tommy we all know appears and harasses Drakkon from pretty much the astral plane. This drives Drakkon so far into the brink of insanity, he weakens his hold of his entire universe to the point that the original Tommy was able to revive himself, leading to the plan that causes the downfall of Drakkon once and for all. Oh! Remember how Drakkon used the power of multiple Ranger teams to achieve his incredible strength? Yeah, so this great power might also be his greatest weakness. For the bonus of his immense power, Drakkon runs the risk of breaking down on a genetic level due to his body not being able to handle so many Power Rangers power sets at the same time. If Drakkon lets his power become too unstable, it is almost a guaranteed chance of him imploding from the power overloading from within his body. Still, despite all these shortcomings, Drakkon is still one of the most dangerous and powerful antagonists in Power Rangers history.
They will realize the truth. They could have been gods.
Whew. Now that we got that psychopath out of the way, let's get into Ohma Zi-O. Now, Ohma Zi-O is just a future version of a young man named
Tokyo Sogo. This Sogo, for the most part, goes through the same events now in life as the main Sogo we all know. He got his Jiku driver in Geo Ride Watch during his high school years on September 8th, 2018, and would go on his own adventures as the hero, Kamen Rider Geo. But there was one thing missing. See, Sogo never wanted to be just a hero. He wanted to be a king of the entire planet. Now at first, this goal was pure. He wanted to be a kind king who would take the world into a brighter future with his own hands. But when he was given the incredible power over time and space itself, with no friends, no gates, no Tsukiyomi to tell him the path he would walk on was wrong, this power would corrupt him, and Sogo would continue to evolve this power until he became unstoppable, stopping the creation of any Kamen Riders past his own. And with 50% of the entire human population erased with the use of his Daimazines, Sogo would stand alone as the strongest Kamen Rider in all of creation. He is the end times. He is a demon who rules over the time stream. He is the greatest, the highest.
Now, keep in mind, same as Lord Dragon, Ohma Zi-O upscales from practically every Kamen Rider that came before him. He is described as the strongest Kamen Rider of all time on multiple occasions, both in and outside of the show, and even proves it by low-diffing most, if not all, of the previously most powerful Kamen Riders to ever exist, and even their antagonists. So, again, any big feats that come from previous Kamen Riders, Ohma Zi-O can do it like a billion times over. Deal. Now, there is some heated debate on his Ohma Zi-O power spread beyond the Heisei era. Personally, I think he does, but for the sake of being nice, and to make this just easier on me, I'll also keep Ohma Zi-O only to Heisei era when it comes to his abilities. But I'll still take any scaling and additional cosmology the Heisei era might have gained with the Showa and Reiwa era, because I don't see really any reason why not, considering how many times the eras have crossed over. You know? Now, starting off with the AP, we have the iconic Kuga Ultimate form, primarily known for its amazing ability to destroy the Earth. Now, there is a little contention with this scaling, since not only do we not see Kuga perform this feat, but we also have like literally no idea how he could destroy the Earth. Whether it's complete instant annihilation, or maybe he just destroys humanity and the surface of the planet over the course of time as like the new strongest being. Whatever. While I get these complaints, I think there are enough statements from supplementary material like guys plainly stating Kuga as a planetary threat. So while he doesn't exactly show it in the show, I think there's enough author intent in believing Kuga could definitely destroy the Earth. I won't give him the like Dwarf Star level scaling like I did with Serpentera, because again, we don't know how the hell he's destroying the planet, and I'm arguing hard enough just to get him to based on planetary, so ugh. There is also the feat by the Overlord from Kamen Rider Agito, who is pretty much God Lucifer, kinda? I don't know, I haven't watched the show yet, I will soon, probably. Anyways, he performs the feat of forming the Scorpio constellation with his power by moving stars into that formation, so he can lead all humanity into killing themselves in a doppelganger homicide trance that will lead to their own extinction. uh, uh, okay. Considering the number of stars he was moving, along with the speed, this was been a solar system to multi-solar system feat. The last big feat I want to go over is the creation of the new world in Kamen Rider Build. To provide context, the main cast of Kamen Rider Build figured out the plan to defeat the main villain, Evil, once and for all with the use of the Pandora Box. The Pandora Box is an extraterrestrial super weapon used by Evil with the power to defy the laws of physics and even interact with alternate universes. The plan the cast had in store was to use the space-distorting effects of the Pandora's box to summon another timeline and merge it with the main universe to create an entirely new timeline, with Evolt and the box crushed in the middle of the space distortion, so that the new timeline can exist as both Evolt and the Pandora's box never existed in the first place. In the last-ditch effort to ensure the fate of the new world, Kamen Rider Build and Cross will have their final fight with Evolt in the middle of the time-space distortion, merging the two worlds. They will emerge victorious over Evolt as they tank being in the middle of the blast epicenter, combining both worlds. While fatigued, mind you, these two had the durability and therefore AP or a pretty blatant low multiversal level feat, since it included the merging of two entire universes. In terms of finite speed for Kamen Rider, things get a little bit more complicated. Of course, there's plenty of FTL feats, but none as blatant as shooting ass thunder across the universe. But you know, I'll give it a shot. I'll try. For starters, in the first superhero Tyson movie, Kamen Rider Forze, along with the Go Busters, was able to drive and steer the Go Buster O from Saturn back to Earth in less than a minute, ranging speeds from 148 times faster than light on low ball to 266 times faster than light as a baseline. There's also like a calc that reaches over 400 times faster than light that I heard from Knights of Spears video, but I couldn't personally find the calc, so I just eyeball and get it over with. Along with that, every Five's rider primarily uses laser technology for their gear. Some of their moves even have them convert their bodies into pure beams of light. Later in the season, Kamen Rider 5 obtains the 5 Axle form, which is stated to be a 1000 times multiplier. Not only is Takumi able to move at these speeds, but he also attack and flex to the damn camera at these speeds, making these guys at least 1000 times faster than light. Now, of course, all this sounds pretty broken, but of course, this isn't even a fraction of what Ohma can do when he's at least somewhat locked in. Now, for this part, I'll be using the cosmologies of Super Sentai also due to all the crossovers between the two franchises. And before I hear y'all start yapping about how crossovers aren't canon, so if you're using this game, I'm telling you this right now, it does not matter. Ohma Zi-O has the power and full knowledge of everything Kamen Rider, canon or not. Prime example of this, when a younger version of himself summoned practically every Heisei Kamen Rider in existence, including people like Kamen Rider G, an adult-oriented short series side writer meant to be part of TBASI's 50th anniversary, who uses wine as his power. The Go Riders, or Kamen Rider parodies of the original Sentai team Go Ranger, with a total of like 7 minutes of screen time, only showing the crossover events between Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, and the manga version of Kuga. No, I don't mean he summoned a Kuga suit with memories of the manga event. No. I mean, he took a volume of Kamen Rider Kuga, gave that manga life, and the panels of the Kamen Rider Kuga manga transcended its pages, and as still images started moving around and killed like 5 people in the real world. If that's not enough proof, I don't know what is, okay? And be lucky I don't go all the way with this line scaling, because honestly, I'm kind of lowballing here. Like, you want me to bring out the Ultraman scaling? You want me to bring out the Marvel and DC scaling? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Pussy.
Anyways, same as Power Rangers, the base multiverse of Kamen Rider is an infinite universe and infinite dimensions and blah 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 blah. You know, whether it's through the AR worlds of Decade or the parallel worlds of Build. Kamen Rider has a defined infinite multiverse, and it's arguable that each Kamen Rider timeline contains its own infinite multiverse, as stated by Kamen Rider Decade, who stated each and every Kamen Rider season exists in their own timeline until it was all merged together by the guy who had about 50% of his power. All of this is basically squared by the mirror world from Kamen Rider Ryuki, which is just the main universe flipped over. That gets arguably cued with the Ryuki novel, stating that the mirror world is its own infinite multiverse, infinitely reflecting itself over and over and over as each reflection becomes another reality. All of that gets crammed together into one singular universe that exists parallel to each and every existing timeline, plus another stack with the Wonder World from Kamen Rider Saber, being another infinite-sized realm to our own universe. We know the Wonder World exists in at least multiple other universes because the Dark Sword oh my god, I need to watch this over quick. Because the Dark Sword Kurayami has the ability to show its users dozens upon dozens of visions of other timelines where both our world and the Wonder World gets obliterated. Above all of these are higher dimensions like the 4th dimensional realm, the Uju occupied in King Oji. While this space is not blatantly stated to be a space in a higher dimension, if you use something called your eyes, you can see that they're at least actively trying to convey that it's a higher dimension, barely conceivable by our own lower dimensional minds. And considering that King Oji need to upgrade their mech into the Transcendental Raging Ultimate Fight God King Oji! With the context provided, they're using the literal meaning of Transcendental. King Oji is ascended into a higher dimension in the final battle, which, you know, totally 100% is a blatant Lagan reference. Above that is the Ideon dimension from Dawn Brothers, a higher dimension created through emotions and human thought, which even has an official visual on the Toei website, if you use the Wayback Machine, that displays the Ideon dimension as a space higher than our own dimension, and that means that live inside it are also higher dimensional beings, making it 5D above Durridge's room, which represents the universe, while the Ideon dimension is above it. And above all of that is Kamen Rider Saber. No, that's not a dimension, it's just some dude. And by some dude, I mean literally God! Kamen Rider Saber, or Kugakudo, was a researcher of the Yggdrasil Corporation who died in a research project gone wrong. Instead of instantly being dragged to hell where he belongs, his soul will transcend dimensions and essentially be brought into a perpetual state of limbo as he becomes a being of pure energy. With the plan of Project Saber, which is basically just the third impact from Evangelion, he tries to make all of humanity merge together and transcend to a higher dimension with them. After actually succeeding in reaching transcendence, he, well, became a god. An omnipotent, omnipresent being that has grown beyond the concepts of time, space, life, death, and is merged with the greater multiverse in a space in between universes where all possibilities infinitely converge and expand into new possibilities in universes. This same guy, after a long, grueling battle with the main cast and transforming into his final form, which is a skeleton T-Rex for some reason, I think it's symbolic or something. I'm not completely sure. I don't know. He will finally stand face to face to Kamen Rider Gain, you know, the guy the show is named after, and also known as the Man of the Beginning, who has reached a similar level of godhood as Kudo. Kudo then gets fucking one-shotted by him and slowly erased from existence. Considering everything stated before, Saber would have transcended everything in the Rider multiverse, and the rest of the Rider cosmology 60. If you don't believe he's like, I don't know, universal or some shit, because the whole omnipotent thing, you know, it's a whole can of worms. Oh, by the way, I'm still going. As above all that is the world of the unofficial Sentai Akiba Ranger. This universe sees all of Super Sentai, and by extension Kamen Rider, as fiction, similar to how we do. The Akiba Rangers can then interact with these fictional characters via the Delusion world, which connects their real world with the fictional world of Sentai. I say their real world, as it was revealed later in the show that Akiba Ranger is also a fictional world, all being written by and controlled by Subaru Hate, which is just a pen name to represent the author and greater company of Toei, who resides in their own higher dimension, which is just our world. Literally, it's just our world. And as the author of the story, they'll decide what season becomes official or unofficial. It is reasonable to say these worlds of Akiba Ranger and the real world above Akiba Ranger is at least 7th to 8th dimensional, respectively. Arguably outer, since we're kind of literally beyond fiction right now. A similar event happens with the heroes of Zenkaiger and Kamen Rider Saber trying to stop the erasure of their history by being launched outside of their dimension and meeting a young Shotaro Ishinomori. Yes, that Ishinomori, as in the creator of both Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, along with Cyborg 99. Ishinomori, and as a real person and original creator and author of both series, they can freely alter and even erase both series from existence. It is fairly safe to say that the Ishinomori shown in the movie lies in a similar dimensional power as Subaru Hate / Toei from Akiba Ranger, making it yet again 8-dimensional or boundless, again beyond fiction. You know how it be. This happens just one more time in Heisei Generations Forever, as the main plot of the movie revolves around a very rare type of Imogen, aka one that isn't a manipulative, psychopathic piece of shit that wants to erase you from all the time and space, cause fuck it, why not? Grants the wish of a young Kamen Rider fan named Shingo to bring all of his favorite heroes, the Kamen Riders, into the real world. Or real life, whatever. Similar to Ishinomori in Superhero Senki, a timejacker by the name of Tid was using Futalos and Shingo as part of his plan to erase all Kamen Riders from existing in the real world by using the power of Kamen Rider Kuga, the first ever Heisei Kamen Rider. This makes 3 separate occasions in which both Kamen Rider and Super Sentai has acknowledged and fought in the real world, bringing a surprising amount of consistency to this 8D to boundless scaling for the Kamen Rider cosmology. And this, all of this, can be destroyed by Kamen Rider Decade, arguably in base as Tsukasa's existence as a multiversal singularity. His entire role as Decade is to be the Kamen Rider that can destroy the entire Kamen Rider multiverse. Now, at the end of this story, Decade will actually fight Ohma Zi-O, 2-on-1. The younger version of Zi-O is also there. It's like a whole thing, whatever. But anyways, he will fight him in his new strongest form, Decade Complete 21, which is like the ugliest suit of all time, but whatever. There isn't any official numbers for this one, but for the sake of just making one, let's just say every rider included on this form is just another multiplier stacked on top of Decade's own power. So right now, Decade is fighting Ohma Zi-O with a base power of infinity to the power of 4 times 20. And in this fight, Ohma, who by the way, isn't even at full power, he's actually at like the brink of death right now. You watch the show, you get it. I shit you not, Decade gets whacked, cracked, smacked, and passed by Ohma until he was defeated in this form. And by defeated, I mean died! A massively nerfed Ohma Zi-O killed a multiversal singularity in like 4 fucking hits. This quite blatantly puts Ohma Zi-O in that 8th dimensional level of power, possibly 9th dimensional considering how hard he dropped Decade, while being at like the absolute trench of his power. Again, all of this can be scaled up to boundless or universal or whatever you want to call it due to the events that happened in the real world or affected the real world in Akiba Ranger, Superhero Senki, and Heisei Generations Final. So, that's it, I guess. I mean, it's pretty blatantly obvious who wins this. Like, even if I highball drag it to like, I don't know, infinite dimensional because of some statement of the morphing grid or something, he still gets quite literally demolished by just Ohma Zi-O's raw aura, you know? But that's a lame way to end a vid. Oh, this old rubber guy, solos and one-shots this younger rubber guy, the end, you know? But what if we make things just a little bit more interesting? How about we equalize their stats? And make this a battle out of their abilities to see who comes out on top. Yeah, that'd be fun. There's gotta be a way Power Rangers fans want to get a W out of constantly suffering from the hands of Hasbro. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, let's go. And it's over. Yep. You see that little pile of dust right there? That's kind of what's left of Drakkon. Alright, let's break it down. Now, I'm not saying Drakkon is just some walking power break with no real hacks to his name. Of course not. He is actually kind of cracked when you put him alone in a vacuum. Him being another version of Tommy Oliver, wielding the fused power of both the Green and White Ranger. He is a master level martial artist and weapons master. with other abilities like energy projection, teleportation, and some resistance to mind control. And during his multiversal conquest, he'll only continue to grow in power by stealing the powers of other Ranger teams by stealing their morphing. These other teams are the Mighty Morphin Rangers when they were ninjas, Zi-O, Samurai, Ninja Steel, In Space, Lost Galaxy, Dino Thunder, Dino Charge, Lightspeed, and Jungle Fury. This gives Drakkon further access to magic, all the elements, further weapon and martial arts mastery, and soul manipulation via astral projection. And with a morphing heart and transcendence into godhood, Drakkon now has access to full-blown reality warp portal creation across the multiverse, existence erasure, and immortality via acausality. In any other matchup, there is probably a really high chance Drakkon will just low diff anybody who stands his way with these abilities. The problem here is Ohma Zi-O is not one of them. Ohma can practically do everything Drakkon can do and so much more. As the king of time and space, he has, you guessed it, time powers! All of but not limited to precognition and future sight, time stop, time slow, time acceleration, air by himself to make himself as fast as he wants, or he can just boom the whole area with time rays that rapidly accelerates anything Ohma wants by hundreds of years in like a couple seconds. Time reversal and time travel. Along with that, he has reality warping, existence eraser, temporal eraser, conceptual erasure, the ability to change the density of his attacks to whatever he chooses, control the laws of cause and effect, which, you know, doesn't feel like it matters at this point, considering the suit has complete damage negation. And while Drakkon has access to a good chunk of Power Rangers, Ohma Zi-O has full-on access to the powers of every single Heisei Kamen Rider ever. Now, a lot of people argue he only has the power of the main writers, but in the very scene where he states he has the power of all Kamen Riders, you can see the ride watches of not only primary writers, but also secondary, tertiary, and even villain writers be absorbed into his own power. Now, I won't go over every single hacks in every single season, but I'll try to go over all the big ones Ohma Zi-O may have access to from each season. Black hole creation. Bypass defense via biochemical manipulation, as with the right formula, Bill can create a gas that can neutralize air causing thermal changes in a person's genetic structure. Reality warping powered by the collapse of the universe. Actual invincibility. Like, not in the sense that he's really durable. I'm talking about like supersonic, Star Mario, complete invulnerability. Even to like time hacks and reality warping. Oh, by the way, it lasts for a infinite amount of time. As in the X-Day novel, it states that if he fought Genom grade 1 million as Hyper Muteki, it will take at least a decade straight to break the stalemate. He's serious. Plot manipulation. Yeah, you know how Kamen Rider Saber's catchphrase is how he decides how the story ends? Well, Emu, like, actually decides how the story ends. Possession. Cannibalism, summoning an army of ghost heroes from the past, resistance to gravity manipulation on a planetary scale, cosmic awareness and omnipotence, access to all forms of magic and can absorb magic or other elements with seemingly no limits, gravity manipulation and becoming a Bruce Lee reference.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it!
Infinite duplication.
I'm going to turn into a truck now. Birch church, ding ding church.
Instant access to all the world's history and information via the Gaia library. Create dimensional walls for defense and instant travel across the multiverse. Soul attacks and a really fucking cool background whenever he wants. Possession and time travel. Daring today, aren't we? Show that came before Ghost and Zi-O. Increased speed by the manipulation of photons. Internal attacks by sound manipulation. Immortality, banger theme song, and the indomitable human spirit. Lightsabers can travel in and out of mirrors at any point in time and steal weaponry from Drakkon with estrangement. Resistance to mind control from literal Satan. And instantly igniting enemies and inspire for as long as he wants, like he's part of the Uchiha. Oh, quick BT dub. Ohma also has the ability to summon temporal clones of every single Kamen Rider ever and them all to his level. Meaning, if he wanted to, he could just hit Drakkon with literally everything I just talked about at the same time. Yeah. So, that was a lot. Simply put, There's just too many ways Ohma can just instantly end the fight in ways Drakkon would have no defenses for. Drakkon may be a causal being, but so is Decade, and Deno, and Waz, and two of them are arguably on an even higher scale than Drakkon. And Zio's time hacks still work on Decade, meaning there's quite literally nothing stopping Ohma from just booming the whole battlefield with time rays and forcing Drakkon to just age into dust, or revert Drakkon's age into a Tommy that never had the powers in the first place. He could use the power of Build Genius to create some awful concoction that takes advantage of Drakkon's deteriorating biology. Hell, he could possibly use Ryuki's copy and Strengthen to duplicate or just flat out steal any of Drakkon's weaponry. Saba? Gone. The Dragon Dagger? Gone. The Morphin Heart? Yank that shit from his chest. And again,
Ohma.
you can just instantly summon every Kamen Rider in existence and just have them jump Drakkon as Ohma just sit there on his throne and watch the fireworks. There is maybe one singular win condition Drakkon may have when he's fighting Ohma Zi-O. See, despite him pretty much being a time god, Ohma is still tied down to his past. It ain't big alterations to Solo happens before he ever becomes Ohma in the current or future or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know what time it's it. Ohma may just be erased from existence. So if Drakkon, like the bitch he is, decides to go back in time and destroy the old Zigu driver Sogo may have, or just flat out kill Sogo, he could end the fight right then and there. But let's be for real for a sec. You think Drakkon is gonna get away with timey-wimey gobbledygook against a guy with a clock for a face? Ohma should also have access to the intelligence of some of the smartest characters in Kamen Rider. And if Sento's IQ is any way comparable to Hongo, which it should be, him being a super genius is kind of his whole thing, then we're looking at like a bare minimum IQ of 600! And that was before the cyborg modification! Ohma will be able to think of every single win con imaginable before Drakkon even finishes his first speech upon arriving there, leaving Drakkon basically no chance to even attempt time travel, which, by the way, will get negated by either Ohma time traveling with them or just making a time portal and forcing them back into the present fight. So, you know, all of this already sounds really bad, but it wouldn't be as bad if it weren't for just one thing. Drakkon won't ever, in any way, shape, or form, will ever just permanently kill Ohma Zi-O. Let me explain. See, as Solo's powers continue to evolve, he became more than just some guy in a costume. As he grew in power, he became the embodiment of the concept of the Heisei generation of Kamen Riders. Ohma Zi-O isn't just the strongest of the generation. He is his generation. He is the Heisei Kamen Rider. His like third weakest form transcends and rules over the concepts of the past, future, good, evil, light, and dark, basically making him beyond any form of trans-duality. If Drakkon wants any hope of permanently defeating Ohma Zi-O, he has to erase the concept of the entire Heisei era across the entire multiverse. And even if he somehow manages to do that, that will probably be a temporary victory at best, because there will always be people who will remember the history of Kamen Rider. Time creates the people. The people create memories. Memories create history. If the people remembers the history of Kamen Rider, aka one of history's most influential superheroes of all time, Kamen Riders will always come back. And if all the Kamen Riders come back, so does Ohma. In short, there is really no way a fool like Drakkon could ever hope to defeat Ohma Zi-O. You wanna know why? Because Sogo was never just some guy. He was a man born to be king.
Oh shit, you're still here. I guess I didn't make like an actual ending to my video yet, so I guess I gotta go up and make an outro real quick. Okay. Okay, yeah, sure. Screw it. Let's go. First things first, huge shout outs to my buds, Andrew and Law, for giving me their voices to use in the video. Also a smaller shout out to Storm and Maho. Their voices didn't make it into the video, but I do appreciate the thoughts they had in wanting to be in the video in the first place. So, shout out to them. Yeah, if you can't tell, this is like my first ever scripted video and the longest video I'll hopefully make for a very long time. This was way longer than I ever hoped, ever thought it'll ever be. I started this back in like October, November-ish, and I thought I could just script this out, pump it out in the CapCut, make it like 10-15 minutes-ish minimum, right? But then I just kept going and going and going and going and keep looking and looking and looking, and even after all this, finally getting this video out, after all the research and stuff, I still missed some parts. I think like I was too deep into it, but I found out like the introduction of like brain worlds from Go Onger, which like will upscale a bunch of things a lot via like the introduction of string theory. So that, that's cool. There's been some like revisions of the Wonder World and the Edeon realm, like higher dimensions and like even all of that, like Platonic realms or some shit, which is like crazy. That's like some shit you be hearing in like DC. It's just a bunch of stuff. I still feel like I maybe could have gone older, but I was too deep into it anyways. I was like too far into the video when I found them out anyways. I couldn't just like cram it in. But yeah, this video really was like a learning process in time management, and especially like the process of editing, recording, because I think I did this like all backwards, and that messed things up a lot. I went fix all the audio first and then do all the videos and clips above that like after I do the audio, but that kind of just messed things up a lot. So maybe next time when I do it, I'll find a different way, different process doing this that'll help speed things up. But yeah, besides that, I guess I can't be too mad. I still like the video overall. Let's see, am I missing anything? I don't think so. I'm fucking hungry, man. I think I'm gonna go to the cafe and eat something. What do white people say? Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content and want to see more. Hey, I think that's what they say. Yeah. Anyways, I'm hungry. I gotta go. Bye. Love you.